All right, we'll get started. So, welcome to Two Hags Chinwag, and my name is Trish, and
I'm Susie.
This podcast we are going to be talking about being a witch or a magical practitioner in times of darkness or when we are feeling dark ourselves. So, one of the things that I wanted to share with you was Susie's response one time when I texted her when we were working out what we were going to talk about, and I just loved it so much. It was, I can't love and light that shit away until it's ready to go on its own. And I thought that was that's like in a nutshell, really good way to summarize what we're talking about.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, what do you have to?
Well, we have a couple of things. We were going to answer some questions brought up by one of our subscribers.
Right, that's right.
And so I was going to get you to do that.
Okay.
And then I wanted to talk about today's lunar eclipse.
Right.
Because the energy is just so juicy. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Yay. Yeah, so yes, I did write the questions that we were asked. So I want to thank any subscribers that actually make comments and ask us questions, because it's just fun to answer them. So I wrote notes and I can't find them. Hold on a second. Okay, well, I do remember the questions. I don't know why it's not here. One of the questions was, were we ever in a coven, or are we in a coven together ourselves? So, I'll get you, were you ever in a coven?
No.
No.
No interest.
No interest, okay. Yeah, so, I was in a coven once. I actually created a coven when I was in probably my 30s. Yeah, late 30s. I created a coven because I just met some ladies that were really interested in witchcraft, so I said I would host sort of like a coven thing. And at the time, we did things very traditionally, so they appointed me high priestess because I was just the person that held it and had the most experience, but it was nothing like, it was nothing so official that...
It wasn't Wiccan.
It was kind of Wiccan, yeah, it was, because that's kind of what we were interested in at the time. And they were just starting out, so I find a lot of people interested in witchcraft tend to start with the Wiccan branch of it, because that's what you see the most in books, right, in stores and whatnot. So yeah, so we did that for a couple of years. There was about 5 of us, I think, and then I sold my house and moved away, and it just wasn't feasible to continue that. But that is something that I still miss a bit. Like, I miss the community. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Wiccan coven. I just would love to have a community of women that we get together and work magic, work spiritual stuff, work magic, and that kind of thing. So honestly, I've been really craving that lately, and kind of looking into things a little bit, looking onto online covens and that kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I may go nowhere with that. I don't know. But
it will unfold as it's meant to be.
Yeah. There was one I was really interested in, but it's based out of the UK, and their times for doing things the time zone ends up being not good for me, and they do a lot during the week, so I'm at work. And they did say that you can participate in the like you can watch the recordings and stuff, but to me that's not the same thing. So anyway, so no, we're not in a coven together, but you have a group of
Yes.
ladies.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and they're different backgrounds and different experiences, but we all, it works out well because we all respect one another's beliefs, and
Yeah.
we don't try and push one agenda on another. We just enjoy doing readings together, and just getting together, and drumming is a big thing with us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I forget the other question. Do you remember the questions?
Oh, she was mostly just saying she wasn't sure about, was this witchy, or was this, coming from, the other side, or, was it messages? That's what I remember. And I told her not to doubt signs. She was getting signs.
Oh, okay.
But I can't remember the other question that she had, and we apologize to her now. Do you want me
Yeah,
to?
I don't know.
No, my phone is being recorded. I can't
Yeah,
look it
that's
up.
okay. I don't know why I don't have it, because I did write it. Wait, maybe I have a third piece of paper in here.
Or we could follow up in the
Yeah, we
comment
might
section
have
or
to.
something.
We might
Yeah.
have to do this another.
But it was just really nice to hear from someone who, was on the path but wasn't, 100% sure if what she was feeling or thinking or knowing was,
yeah,
was correct. And, there is no right or wrong if it's how you feel and how you practice. And I loved some of the things that she said she was doing. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, when I think of it, we'll follow up next podcast. Which this is after this one, this is our 1 year mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so next podcast will be like season 2.
Oh, we'll have
Yeah.
to come up with something good for that then.
Yeah, I
won't
think
we?
so, and
Yeah.
it'll be close to Samhain.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
we can do something about that. I think that would be fun.
That would be, awesome.
Okay. So, yeah. So let's talk about, being a witch in darkness. So what did you mean when you said you couldn't love and light that shit away until it was ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, I can only be in the moment, and if I'm feeling sad, depressed, angry, I sit with those feelings and I allow them to be. So I can't go, turn that frown upside down,
Yeah.
love and light, and
Yeah.
because it's how I'm feeling. It's not something that I can just snap my fingers and get over. But I know that I will. But I don't know like how long it's going to be with me. So sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it, because we got to move through this world, and we have jobs to do and people that depend on us and whatnot. But yeah, until I'm over that angst, and a lot of my emotions are angst, I would say, more than depression, or even, I do get kind of frustrated and angry sometimes, but I just love the angsty feelings.
You love the angsty
I
feelings.
do.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm feeling something,
Yes.
right? So instead of just being blah,
Yeah.
it's like, like a song that makes you feel something. It's not a happy song, like Alanis Morissette's You Ought to Know. Like, I love that as kind of an anthem, like an FU anthem, right? It's full of angst.
Yeah.
It's real gritty feelings, and I love gritty feelings.
Yeah.
So until I'm ready to release that, and the lunar eclipse is a beautiful time to release those kinds of emotions. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Especially people who have gone through grief, like grieving, I feel that to not feel the darkness of those emotions, to try and suppress those is doing you no good. But it's also dishonoring the feeling itself, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I to love the grittiness of it. And I don't shy away from it. I try to embrace it. And I don't know, like you're talking about this full moon, but I've been feeling like that darkness for quite a while now. Like it was like it was getting to me, it was getting to me. And but at the same time, if you're feeling these things, if you don't feel darkness, then you don't have compassion and you don't have empathy. You know what I mean? Like if you're always, oh, everything's fine, well, you're clueless, and you're not seeing things for what they really are. So I think it's an honorable thing to feel darkness, and I think it tells of your humanity and your emotional intelligence. And I think that if but you can't dwell there.
No,
You know
that's
what
the
I
key.
mean? Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, so I'm not afraid of darkness. In fact, I kind of like it, to be honest. I don't always like feeling down and depressed, but working in the darkness, I guess, is something that I enjoy doing. I embrace the dark side of things, I guess. It's where I'm comfortable, probably. I don't know why, but anyway, if we're talking about physical darkness, like the nighttime and stuff, I'm very comfortable with night. And I'm not a big fan of full daytime. Like, I don't like the daytime. I love early mornings.
Yeah.
And from dusk until early mornings. But that daytime section, not a fan.
That's interesting because I think, for me, part of being a witch is loving those liminal spaces.
Yeah.
And I'm not a black and white person. I have a lot of gray areas. And I think that I think differently than other people because I don't see things as being, so straightforward.
Right.
And you have to be this and you have to be that. And, I think that a lot of times we need our darkness because we need to be able to push through things that are dark and heavy. And if you're afraid of the dark, then you're going to be afraid of those emotions.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to be angry because it spurs me through things.
That's right. Yeah.
And the times that I'm most proud of myself are the times that I have pushed through very difficult and very dark things, and I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't lean on anybody else to do it. And I think that's also an aspect of being a witch or identifying as a witch, is that that you've got what it takes to get through things, and it's all about the sovereignty and the independence, right? But also knowing that you have your ancestors at your back, or you have certain people that will support you. Right? Like I'm not a person that tells people my deepest, darkest secrets, but I know, I can tell you something and you're not going to go, I'm never speaking to her again. That doesn't fall in my paradigm. Yeah. So, and I think that people appreciate that about me as well, is that you can tell me the really gritty, messy things, and I'm just going to go, fuck yeah, that's part of life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, God, we all have such a journey to get through, and that the subscriber that sent us a bunch of questions, I know that she's gone through a lot of dark things, and I did get a sense of a little bit of fear from that. And so this podcast actually ties into that a little bit, because we want to talk about how we cope. What does it look like as a witch in darkness? So, and what do we do to get out of it other than just get through it? Is there other things that we do? So I find, sometimes when I'm in that darkness, I tend to see, I get angry a lot of times. So I'm an action taker. So when I start feeling that darkness, I want to take action. Um, I have a hard time just sitting and being with it. I do that, but in the goal of like, okay, I'm going to sit and be with this, but I want to come up with ways to get out of this or to fix this or whatever. And but a lot of people, if they're feeling that darkness, they enter like a depression, and they don't feel like doing magic. They don't feel like setting up an altar. They don't have the energy to do that, and that's perfectly fine. For me, it's the opposite. I take action, but a lot of people enter that depression stage, and with that tends to be this need to just rest a lot and do nothing, and that's just not something I'm very good at. So
Well, you're a fire sign, right?
yeah.
So your nature is one of action. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and everybody's different, and I don't judge anybody for not wanting to do anything, because you have to take care of yourself to get through this time of darkness, and whatever darkness that is, especially personal darkness. You do what you have to do to get through it. If it's to rest, if you don't feel like doing any magic, you don't feel like drinking an herbal tea to get you through it, that's fine. As long as you're actively in your mind acknowledging that this is a time period you're in, and I feel like it should be said to yourself that you don't want to stay there, because that's, to me, I don't think that's a healthy thing. If you're not doing anything actively, physically, work on it in your mind, do your shadow work. You don't have to do shadow work that like a ritual or magically or anything, just in your head. Just work through it in your head.
Yeah. It has to be at your own pace. And I think that, what I meant by I can't love and light that until I'm ready. Sometimes all I have is journaling. Because I'm an earth sign, so I'm not of the action. I'm just gonna take a moment and step back. And just to be clear, when we talk about darkness, we're not talking about an evil entity entering
No.
our souls or anything like that. It's just that feeling, that heaviness, right? To me, that it's a heavy feeling. So sometimes all I can do is just journal to get my thoughts out, and it's like a release for me. But definitely also, I do take a lot of comfort in the magical. So I look for signs. I talk to my mom on the other side, and I can tell you that she's pulled through for me like several times when I was just like, you know what, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to check out. I can't, I was in a lot of pain, as we've talked about before. And, that can put you into a depressive state because you just can't seem to find your way to the light, because, when your digestion isn't good, and then your anxiety isn't good, and then your self-talk is bad. So I listen to music to make me feel better. I'll watch a comedy to make me feel better. And, I used to cry a lot when I was younger. That was a release for me. But I think now that I'm older, I don't cry as much. I like to laugh. I like to laugh at myself mostly. But yeah, so I'll watch a comedy, like something that breaks up that energy, right? Or, it's hard sometimes to get outside. But if all I can do is just sit on the grass in my backyard, then that's sometimes enough, right?
Yeah.
Just to breathe and to listen to the trees and just to
Like a grounding.
you're
It is,
grounding.
that
Yeah,
is an action, you know. It may
yeah,
not look like it to people on the outside, but that is an action, grounding, because you're purposely connecting to the trees and the earth, but you're also actively trying to calm yourself, right? And
yeah. Because you need to calm yourself. You need to start thinking clearly, and then I find one little action builds on the other.
yeah,
So for me, it's usually baby steps,
yeah,
right? So writing in my journal, getting outside, doing a little exercise, making a nice meal. You know, one builds onto the other until suddenly now I'm feeling a little bit better and I'm starting to clear out the cobwebs.
yeah,
But you know, there's other things that you can do, like little rituals, even lighting a candle, you know, burning some incense, making a little altar.
yeah,
It's just those little positive things, but it's about connection, right? It's about connecting to self, connecting to spirit, and just knowing that you're not alone because you do have spirit on your side.
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times darkness does come from that feeling of being alone in it, being lonely in it, and you could have all kinds of people around you, but if they don't, if they, nobody knows truly 100% what you're going through. Even your closest friend or partner, they don't know 100%. So sometimes your brain can go to that, I'm alone in this, and I think that's when I think it's really important, but you don't have to do any elaborate magical workings, but I like to do that. Um, because like I'm very visual, I'm sort of creative and artistic in a sense. So I like all that sort of visual stuff. But yeah, lighting a candle and but calling on spirit guides or your ancestors, setting up like an altar, like Susie said, and having pictures of ancestors because they're there. Sometimes it's hard when you're in that darkness to believe it, but they're there. You know, like Susie said, her mom helped her a lot. So I, to me, that's really reassuring to hear that. You know what I mean? Because I'm very also analytical in my head, so sometimes I will doubt things, and that's part of being in that dark space. Sometimes you'll doubt your practice, your magical practice. Is this just all bullshit and fantasy?
Yeah.
you know, and maybe at that time it is to you, but don't despair if that's how you feel. If you're going through doubts, it's okay. Just go through them. But sometimes, like Susie said, like faking it until you make it, that's a way to get you out of those doubts. Because looking for signs and doesn't have to be elaborate, but just looking for little signs for things can spark that. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is real, and maybe I can start working with it again, because I've been there. I decided at one point this is all shit. It's all bullshit. Like all spiritual stuff is bullshit.
No.
Oh yeah, I was there. So I just gave up on it for years. And then I thought, but see, it always calls me back because deep down inside, I know that's not true. And I feel like, especially women, I think women know deep down that, like, this whole spiritual side of life is real. But we get so inundated by darkness and worldly things that we start doubting things, and that can spiral into darkness, and it's just a vicious cycle that you get into. It took me a lot to get out of that. But I did it, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think especially now, like everything that you are seeing on the news and, doom scrolling through Facebook, you can get caught up in, well, what's the point? Like, where's this world going? What's going to happen? And I look for the helpers. And I know that sounds corny, and you've probably, heard that on Facebook or whatever. But I do. I look for the good stories.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of animal rescue videos.
Oh, they make me sad. I mean,
Well,
they're good, but they make me so
yeah,
sad.
yeah. I mean, they start out sad, and then,
Yeah.
but then I think, look at all the good people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, just people that I meet, people that I interact with. I meet some really nice people, through work or whatever, and that gives me hope, because then I think, there's more good people than bad people. So don't get, caught up in that mindset where, I mean, we all say it, right? We all say, oh, the world's gone to shit.
Yeah.
I say it, but I don't really mean it. And so I try not to say it too much, right?
Right.
You get into those conversations at work, and really, like, I'm not engaged, when people start talking about, current events and how the world is so crappy, whatever. I'll just find a way to change the subject after a bit, because I can't stay in that mindset.
Yeah.
And I think it just perpetuates, like someone says something negative and then someone else picks up on it. And before you know it, you're engaged in this really heavily, you probably have that at work, right? People that are, cheese and rice, like you just want to shake them.
Yeah.
So, I think that small influences have big effects,
Yes.
right? Like the ripples that you send out.
Yeah.
So never, ever doubt that, a kind word, a smile, something can really have a big effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, we talked about personal darkness, but there's also that societal darkness that, that we're seeing. Just an example, I just went to the U.S. To see my mom, because she lives in the Washington, D.C. area, and it was her 80th birthday. So despite the fear-mongering, I was like, I gotta go and be with my mother on her 80th birthday, because, it's a big deal. But everybody I told that I was going, not everybody, you didn't do that, but everybody else that I told that I was going to the U.S. over the long weekend, they were just like, oh, watch out for the Gestapo, watch out for the dictator, watch out for, oh, what did you do to deserve that, having to go to the U.S.? So my anxiety level was so high that I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going to happen to me? What if they turn me around? I've already been turned around at the border, so I was worried that that was there on my record, that I was turned around at the border. It's a long story, nothing I did wrong. Well, kind of, but not really. But anyway, so I was worried. It's like, are they going to see that and say, oh, you were already turned around once, like 40 years ago, 30 years ago? And, but I went to U.S. Customs sweating because I'm worried. And the lady was so nice. Like, she was just so nice. She is an American at the Halifax, living in Halifax, but she's an American. She asked me where I was going. I said, Leesburg, Virginia. And she's like, oh, I know that area. I used to live around there. And so we got talking about that. And she's like, say happy birthday to your mom. And off I went. And I was like,
Jeez.
Okay, that was easy.
Wow.
And then in the U.S., now, granted, my mother is white. She lives in a gated community, so, okay, I know there's disparity there, but it just felt like any other time that I've been in the U.S. It didn't feel any different to me. So, and then I came back, no problems. So I just,
Wow.
yeah. So that really woke me up to how much fear mongering there is, and I'm not saying that these things aren't true, because I know they're true. I know some Canadians have had problems crossing the border. My own personal doctor told me stories about that, and I know there's shit going on in the U.S. that's terrible, absolutely terrible. I get it, so I'm not belittling any of that, but sometimes you still gotta do it anyway. I remember a book back in the 90s called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I read that book, and it was so empowering. That book was so empowering. And a lot of times when I have that anxiety, I think of that, just that one line. Feel it and do it anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it great when you have those little simple mantras,
Yeah.
right? And they get you through these crazy times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a good point. Like, look for those ones that speak to you.
Yeah.
And repeat.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Especially during times of anxiety and fear. And then, is that anxiety and fear yours? Or did somebody plant that in you?
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't listen to the negative people. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And that another one during grief that I always keep in mind when Alicia died, and it was like really heavy duty grief, Katie would say to me, just one step at a time, just one step at a time. And that is something I also tell myself, just one foot in front of the other. It sounds so cliche, but that really did get me through that really hard time. And when I start feeling, things are hard again, that's what I tell myself. Just one step at a time. Just do this one little thing. Like you said, it builds, right? So I think that's a really simple thing. If it just means getting up and making your bed, or getting up and making yourself eat a breakfast because it nourishes you physically. Just these little steps, taking a shower, because sometimes when you're in such a darkness, sometimes showering is a big effort, right? And so yeah, just one little step.
That's amazing, because I say to myself, just breathe, just another breath. Just take another breath.
Okay.
And it's just taking me from one moment into the next, until I am breathing more clearly. Because sometimes I hold my breath.
Yes.
And then I catch myself. Like, I'm so tense.
Yeah.
And I squeeze everything. And so I just go, just take another breath. Just take it. And then the anxiety will pass for me. Yeah. Because I'm better now, but my anxiety could be quite crippling.
Yeah.
Right? Where I just... what is it? Freeze, flight, fight thing. I would just be like...
You freeze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like stuck inside myself. So that's what I would say. Just keep breathing.
Yeah.
Like Dory, just keep swimming. So I was just keep breathing.
Yeah. And see, Katie's like that. She's a more a freeze person, whereas I'm more of a fight person. So I guess we kind of balance each other out in some ways, but I guess because I get mad when I feel that way. It's like, how dare you disrupt my peace? So then I get mad.
You're mad at yourself.
I get mad at myself, or I get mad at whatever the circumstances are. You know what I mean? So it's like, I fight hard for my peace. All my life, I've had to fight hard for my peace. Yeah. And so when things disrupt it, I get angry about it. So, yeah, it's not always a good thing, because sometimes I shoot my mouth off when I shouldn't. So,
well, unfortunately, sometimes we get tarred with, the angry woman. Oh, the hysterical woman.
Yeah.
And then that makes me more angry.
Yeah.
You know, like they're there.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
just calm down.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the worst things you could say to someone when they're in the middle of their rant.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky because my partner, he just lets me rant and just waits for it to pass, right? He knows better than to say anything. So he doesn't, like, we don't spar back and forth or,
Right.
or
Yes.
nitpick or,
Yeah.
or stuff like that. He just lets it pass. God, love him.
Yeah.
But you know what I did? Was it the other morning? So this time, like, dreams right now are pretty intense, right? With the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and the energy has been building, and people have mentioned to me, you know, having a hard time sleeping and their dreams are really crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of dreaming and I'm a little bit conscious, and my Jamie is, when he sneezes like 12 times in a row. And it makes me crazy. Like, it just drives me bonkers. So I'm in this state and I'm having kind of a disturbing dream. And then it kind of inserted itself into my dream where he's sneezing. And so I yell out in the middle of my sleep, "Get out, just get out." And I know I've said it, but then I go back to sleep. And so the next day I go, "Do I have to apologize for something?" He's like, "You told me to get out."
Did he get out, or did
Well,
he
he was
ignore
getting
you?
up anyway because he gets up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work.
Oh my
so
God.
he's just like, I don't know. He kind of knew, but at the same time, I felt bad. Like, I yelled at him. It wasn't his fault. But that sneezing, though, right? So the angry woman came through
Yeah.
in my dream and manifested. Sorry.
That's really funny. And sometimes I think you're right about that people really don't like to see women get angry. But I think more women need to get more angry,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Enough of this submissive bullshit.
Oh, no.
You know.
People pleasing, meek, and,
Yeah.
just keep your mouth shut. No.
No. I mean, there's a time and place, choose your battles.
Yeah.
And if your battle right now is your own personal darkness, then take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Because you have to. But that was sort of the other part of it to me was, the societal darkness. That's where I feel like we do need to get more angry and not worry about being called a Karen because we're mad about something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am so sick of that term, seeing that, and I know there are Karens out there, but at the same time, I find that any woman that's getting angry is being either labeled a Karen because they're angry about stupid shit when that's not true always, or they're being like told to just what's the word? They're being suppressed because I think a lot of times a woman that's angry is fearful for a lot of men.
Oh, for sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Yeah.
if women walked in their power in anger, I think a lot of men will become very worried. Well, they are already worried, but they still have the upper hand just now. But so I just feel it's so important to work not only physically but spiritually to counteract all this stuff that's going on right now. I think magic right now is so needed.
Yes.
It's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like we say, it can be something very simple.
Yeah.
Connecting without, all of the frou-frou and the accoutrements. It's saying a mantra,
Yeah.
saying a blessing, saying a prayer, like driving in your car and, just manifesting, I'm going to find a good parking spot, I'm going to have a clear route of traffic. Like, it's everything. Magic is everywhere. It's in everything. I can look at a tree and connect with that tree and feel its spirit, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
How much more simple can it be than looking outdoors and
Yeah.
You know, finding a feather on the ground. You know, I found a dime underneath my ass the other day, and I said, "Thanks, Mom." You know? She got my back, or she was giving me a kick in the butt. I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, I got up and there was a dime underneath my ass. And you can say, you know, you had a dime in your pocket and it fell out. I don't remember having any change in my pocket.
But
right?
even if you did, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because I feel my mother everywhere, and I know that she looks out for me and that. But yeah, if it makes you feel good and it lifts your spirits, I don't care if people roll their eyes. You know what? I'm so over being afraid of people's judgment.
Yeah.
Right? So I talk about it now at work. If the guys want to ask me a question, right? I answer them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, "Are you Wiccan?" And I explain to them that I'm not, but you know, that there's lots of people that I hang out with who are, and there's nothing wrong with it, and this is what they believe, this is what I believe. If someone asks me a question, I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah.
I'm not like flaunting it out there, but I mean, I do have a bumper sticker that says my other car is a broom. Yeah. Which sometimes starts conversations. Right? People are curious.
Yeah.
They want to know. They want to, you know, they want to feel that magic is real.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, when I do my little videos of, you know, the midweek reading from spirit or whatever, you know, I know those things can be interpreted as, "So you saw some deer, big deal." But it's not that. It's sure on the surface it's that, but for me it's always going deeper than that. Did it spark something? If I get an immediate like, "Oh, this is something," then I'm going to go and dig deep into it, because to me that little spark is a little spark of magic. You know, it's that my intuition picking up on something that maybe a lot of people are closed off to, which is sad to me. You know, and those little things are the things that carry me in my spiritual path as a witch, as a crone, as a magical practitioner.
And if you can reach people, like the lady that wrote to us, right? She's like, you know, I was looking for someone to be, you know, an influencer, a guide, and she said, you know, I listen to you two ladies, and I can relate to what you say.
Yeah.
Didn't that make us happy?
Yes.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Like, it was so nice of her to reach out and say that.
Yeah.
And she's a magical person herself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
we're not any more magical than anybody else.
No.
We just happen to believe, right?
Yeah.
And we always have.
Yeah.
We were like two little fairies running around in the forest when we were kids, and well, we still are.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So do you want to talk about the energy in the air right now, the eclipse? Or did you have more that you had?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about what else we can do. Like, I know that we may have differing opinions on this.
That's what makes us great.
Yeah. So I know that, you know, we talked about grounding, but there's like protective things that we can do. Yeah, and again, if you don't have the energy to do protection spells or that kind of thing, you can just do it in your mind, right? I think, didn't you do a protective meditation on your channel at one point? Yeah. So I mean, they're out there. So if you just want to do something simple, like to put up protective barriers, and there's grounding and protection, and you can do spells if you want, simple spells or elaborate spells and rituals connecting to ancestors and goddesses and gods and whatever spirit guides that you may have. But I will also talk about hexing and cursing, because I feel that is the anger that women need to embrace in ways, but I mean, you need to really think things through, like you don't act in anger because, and I'm going to make it clear right now, I don't believe in the threefold law. I don't necessarily believe in karma. So I guess for me it's easier to kind of go there because I am a bit of a fighter, a bit of a warrior-like spirit. So for me, I don't want to just put up barriers. I want to fight back, but I don't generally need to do it. So because I am not feeling personally threatened at this time. But if I was, I would not hesitate to hex, to curse, and I don't feel any guilt about that, because I just feel like there are communities of people that are extremely vulnerable, the LGBTQ, people of color, people of low incomes, all kinds, disabled people. And if their only ability to fight back because they don't have the means, or they're physically unable, or they're so oppressed or scared, if their only means to fight back is to hex or curse, then I say go for it. But just make sure you think it through carefully, and don't make it a knee-jerk reaction. So that would be my other way of coping with darkness if it's, coming your way from external.
No, I get that, and I understand it. It probably wouldn't be my go-to, but it would depend on the circumstance. The only thing that I would advise is to make sure of the intention, because a lower vibration activity will attract lower vibration energy to you. So that's not the threefold law. That's something different for me. It's that my intention is everything. So if my intention is I want to hurt you in a malevolent way, then I think that is a lower vibration energy, and you have to be really cautious with that you're not going to attract more of that to yourself. If your intention is I want you to stop what you're doing, and I want you to go away, and I want to reflect it back on you so that you see what you're doing to people, you're just, no. That's not what you mean.
No.
So, but explain it to me. Like,
yeah.
No, but give me an example of what you would do. So say,
okay,
I'm being a total biatch to you, and I'm causing you, I'm gossiping about you at work, and I'm going to your boss, and I'm undermining you. What are you going to do?
Well, for something like that, to me that's kind of minor. Like for something like that, yeah, I would kind of do that whole mirror spell, like, reflect it back so they see what they're doing. But honestly, people like that generally they don't give a fuck, basically. Like, they just don't care. So what do you have left? So I guess when I'm talking, so say, okay, Katie and I are in a relationship, and this whole really scary shit that's happening down in the States towards the LGBTQ people, like if I had a neighbor that was constantly harassing us, and like if I were in the States, for example, and the police don't give a shit, because there are states that are like that actually support these types of actions, then hell yeah, I'm gonna send something that I'm gonna curse them in a way that, you know what, I hope you get sick, and I hope I am sending something to you that disables you from being able to attack me. I don't know what form that takes. I've never had to do it. But I feel that if I were in that position, I would get mad, and I would embrace my anger, and I would send it back in a way, because those people do not have the capacity to reflect. Because if some people change, they do, and maybe I would start off with that, let's do a mirror spell or something. But if I'm not seeing them changing, no, it's the next step for me. Like, I'm disabling you from being able to do this to me.
Okay. And I guess that speaks to my privileged life that I haven't had to do that. So I just want people to know that I'm not judging those actions. I'm just offering a caution.
Yep.
And for people who have experienced harassment, or somebody who's oppressing them, I don't have that experience, so I apologize that I'm not speaking from that. I'm just speaking from my experience.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you're able to defend yourself or protect yourself, because the things that are coming at you are things that would work with, I would start there, definitely. Mm-hmm. But if it's worse than that, yeah, no.
I love it. I'd be interested in people's opinions on that as well, because I think it's a very important conversation, and I don't think it's something that should be dismissed outright. Mm-hmm. I would like to see examples of it, just so that I can understand it better.
Yeah.
Because I have had a privileged life. I'm not apologizing for my privileged life. I'm just saying I haven't had to experience that. So if I do, we'll talk. I'll be coming to you for advice.
Like, when I went to the States this past weekend, I removed my pride flag off my Instagram temporarily. I removed my YouTube app because I didn't want them searching, because I know that has been a thing where they search through your phone. Mm-hmm. So I removed the YouTube app so they wouldn't actually see the connection to this being, witchy or pagan or whatever. Like, these are real fears, right? In certain places of the world, not necessarily here in Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. So that's good, and I am very grateful and thankful for that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the energy now?
Oh, the energy is so juicy right now. I absolutely love it. So I did a bit of reading and going to different sites and seeing what people were saying about the lunar eclipse. And I'm not a really big astrology person. I love it, but I just,
don't know.
It goes
no
over.
Expert.
No, I am no expert by no means. A lot of it goes right over my head. But I'm always fascinated with duality. So right now we have the lunar eclipse. The full moon is in Pisces, and the sun is in its opposing sign, which is Virgo. So what are those two energies like? So right now we're in the lunar eclipse of Pisces, and then on September 21st we'll be in the solar eclipse of Virgo. So Pisces is that dreamy energy. They're the mystic. Their intuition is sharper than most, because they're a watery sign, and they're in touch with their emotions, and they're very introspective and deep people, compassionate people, very kind people, I find. And so then on the other spectrum you have Virgo, and I'm a Virgo ascendant, so I can talk about Virgo.
My mom's a Virgo.
Oh yes. And I'm thinking of your mom too in part of this that I read about. So, Virgo is, they're the perfectionists. They want everything organized. They want their lists. They want you to follow this. And Pisces, no. Pisces, no. They're on their own. They're floating around up here. And I have a girlfriend who's a Pisces, and I've really learned a lot from her, because it frustrates me when people are dreamy. Because I'm an earth sign, and so I'm a Taurus, and I have a Virgo ascendant.
Daphne is a Pisces, right?
She is, but she's like really tough for a Pisces.
Okay.
She scares me.
Her sister.
Yeah. Daph, she'll tell you exactly how things are. So, I would get frustrated because, so dreamy and just so unrealistic sometimes. But being with her has taught me it's okay to dream. We need the dreamers. It's okay to be imaginative. And, you know, she is such a kind person. She's the first person that says to me, "Are you okay?" You know, she wants to know. She doesn't want you to say you're okay. She wants you to tell her, right? And that's just so unusual. I'm not used to that, right? So she's taught me so much about love and compassion and, you know, just being kind of dreamy and creative and, oh, you know, the money will come from somewhere. Well, that's what Daph's like. The money will come from somewhere.
Oh my God. How do you do that? Please tell me, how do you do that?
I cannot. So, you know, I'm appreciating this Pisces energy right now. And, you know, I found my spidey senses have been tingling, like my intuition has been really heightened. And I did a couple tarot card readings today, and they were, you know, very good. It's like,
Yeah.
so, you know, and I'll be doing my my weekly energy reading. I'll do that after I get home and talk a little bit more about that energy. But, and, you know, it's getting into those liminal places. You know, like I said, you know, things aren't black and white. Things are flowy and dreamy, and, you know, so really lean into that energy right now and just allow your intuition to blossom. And we really need those dreamers. We need those creative, artistic people to remind us that, you know, life isn't always about the dollars.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, creating and manifesting and, you know, just allowing these things to enter into our life that are not of the physical realm, right? Like I love that kind of energy. So it's a good time for ancestral healing. So it's happening in the 4th house, which is the house of home, family, roots, foundation. And it's, you know, the core of our being, our childhood experiences, you know, what shaped us and what brings us joy today. So, you know, Pisces, they love to play. And so anyway, and I did read that in the 4th house, it's about relationship with your primary caregiver, in particular your mother figure. So it's interesting that you went to see your mom. I know it was her 80th birthday, but you know, your mom is not like anybody else's mom. Your mom is in a category all of her own.
Yeah.
And I have so much admiration for you in not ever giving up on your mom and really, you know, trying to keep that relationship alive.
Yeah. I have given up a few times, but my mom never, she always wormed her way into my life. But you know what? Guess what? I'm kind of glad for it, to be honest. When you're 80, I think, unless you're a complete idiot, which my mother isn't, you start reflecting a little more, and I noticed that my mom has reflected a lot in the last, 5 years-ish, and so I see her changing. You can change, even at, you're in your 70s. You can change, you can evolve. You're never too old to fix things, and you're never too old to evolve and grow. Your body may be giving up, but your mind is still, is still able to until it's not. But no, so there's, there's things, when I went down there, every time I go down in the last 5 years, it's like, oh, she's mellowing out a little bit. She's getting a little softer,
Oh.
and a little more in tune. Not completely. There were times where I had to really let things bounce off of me because I couldn't before. But, again, me too. I'm growing and evolving, so I'm learning how to deal with some things. And so anyway, yeah, Virgos are, I don't know any other Virgos, but I probably have a bit of a negative connotation with Virgos because of that.
Yes. Well, Yes, your mom is a challenging personality, and when she loves you, when the sun is shining from her onto you, it's just like you're like, oh my gosh. That's so amazing because your mom is so charismatic and so beautiful and such a sensual lady, that when she turned her attention on you, you were just like,
Yeah.
yay. So exciting. She likes me. Yeah, so I'm glad to hear that she's mellowing out because part of the thing about Virgos is they're so hard on themselves.
Yeah, and I actually had that conversation with her when I was down there because, after her brain injury last fall, she's very, very hard on herself. And so I had to talk to her about that because it was so negative and self-deprecating, I guess, that I was like, Mom, like, you can't talk to yourself like that, but anyway, that's just besides the point there. But
yeah, well,
yeah.
no, just talking about the difference between Pisces
Yeah.
and Virgo because they are opposing signs. So and then the other thing that I read that I thought was interesting is it says eclipses are a powerful time to explore the darkness because obviously they occur at night.
Yeah.
But, again, not to be afraid of the
Yes.
darkness, to embrace those liminal spaces where we can be introspective and we can take a step back and look at things, because we get so caught up in the minutia, right? So I just wanted everyone to, embrace that watery energy, think about their intuition and their subconscious and just embrace the duality that we have in us, which is the darkness and the light, and then all those little gray areas in between, right? Like we're just trying to get through life.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a time of transformation, healing, new beginnings, heightened senses, inner truths and deep introspection. So pay attention to your dreams, seek guidance through meditation, and just dealing with that push and that pull of Pisces, Virgo, and then it's going to be Virgo and Pisces. So just give yourself a little bit of grace to be dreamy, and then pull in those lists, get her done, kind of thing. But allow compassion and kindness to temper your because we all can get a little,
Yeah.
so the things that annoy us can really fester. I find like I can get really caught up in the injustice of things and,
The 12 sneezes.
right. Yes, like it's mean. He can't help it. He can't help that he sneezes one right after the other. But
so
my
funny.
God, so we're in the car, right? And he starts it. And I'll be rolling my eyes. And I make it so dramatic. And we try to make fun of it. Like we try to laugh about it. But really, I mean it. Poor Jamie. He's such a good guy. I don't know how he puts up with me. But yeah, so you know what? Just let people be themselves and move on.
As she tells herself, yeah.
I do. Yeah, I roll my eyes a lot.
Yeah, I know, that's funny. Well, that's what it's like being in a partnership like for so long, and yeah. But yeah, I wrote a couple things about this whole eclipse
Okay.
and full moon thing too. I'm not. Again, I'm like Susie with the zodiac thing, but one thing that stood out was like Pisces being sort of that watery. I thought, of course, that's where my mind goes about dream work, because I think it's a good time to do dream work. And like you say, it's sort of, we're now entering in the Burr months, all right, which is my favorite months. So we're entering in that dark phase right now, and so dream work is probably something to really look into. Like you said, people are having crazy dreams. Well, analyze them. Analyze them. They're not just silly dreams. I can promise you that, especially this time right now. I think it's fun. For me, it's fun to really look at your dreams and figure out what your brain's trying to tell you, what spirit's trying to tell you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. How's our time? Are we...
Yeah, we're 65 minutes.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
never short for conversation.
No, exactly.
But yeah, we can wrap that up then.
Okay, so
Awesome.
yeah, I think that's it, and I think we'll do something for October. I'll be at your place next time. So yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and again, if you have any questions or comments, and I'm really sorry that I forgot, because I know there was another question I wanted to answer and I forgot. So we'll try and do that next time. And yeah, so
Yeah, we really appreciate hearing from people. You know, there's regulars that comment, and it's really so appreciated. Like, it really makes me happy when people do that, because, you know, it lets us know that you're listening and that it means something, and appreciate our little short videos too when you comment on those. So yeah, I'll be on later to do the weekly energy reading.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you posted on when our next podcast is going to be.
Yeah, and actually I want to welcome the new subscribers, because we had a little jump in subscribers. So welcome, dear magical ones, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.